Recording here. All right, put this in present mode. So today we're going to be talking about all text message marketing, text message marketing best practices, and then we're going to get into some BNTouch stuff at the end of how you can actually use BNTouch. We have a text message marketing tool called BNTouch Voice that you can actually add to your system and use as well. So we'll be getting into that today. My name is Aiden. I'm the marketing director here at BNTouch. And down here at the bottom, you'll see any questions you have. Go ahead and email marketing at BNTouch if you have any questions after the fact that you want answered about text message marketing or any sort of strategy or best practice questions. Cool. So today we're going to be discussing 5 things. We're going to first get into some text message marketing statistics. And these, I'm not just going to give you guys a list of random statistics. I tried to find ones that sort of have a takeaway, or through knowing the statistic, it gives you a little insight into how you can use text message marketing to help promote your business. Because I'm sure all of you, by being here, you know that text message marketing is important. So a bunch of stats on why it is important aren't as beneficial. We're then going to get into text message marketing legalities. So text message marketing is regulated by the FCC, and there are some specific things that you need to do to make sure that you're compliant with federal law. Just like with email, this is a sort of a newer arena, so it's not regulated as heavily. But moving forward, there are some restrictions now, and I'm sure moving forward it will become more and more regulated. So we're just going to give you some sort of the basic golden rules you can follow to make sure that you're not going overboard or you're being federally compliant with everything you're doing in text message marketing. We'll then get into text message marketing best practices. So these are going to be tips, tricks, strategies. And really, what we're going for here is I'm trying to give you the frame around which you can think about text message marketing so you can use it in the right way for your business. We'll then get into text message content tips. So these will be specific content tricks, things you actually write and do and say in your text message marketing to make sure it's as effective as possible. And again, I'm searching more for sort of the framework here and the right ways to think about it. Cool. And then finally, we will be getting into actually going into BNTouch, and I'll show you how you can do all of the things we talked about within this webinar in the system, how you can actually use your CRM. And just so you guys know, text message marketing is an additional tool. It's an add-on paid tool that you will have to add. And you can do that there's a module section in BNTouch. We'll get into all that later. But we do have capability for full text message marketing and a bunch of cool stuff that we'll get into as well. Cool. So let's go ahead. Oh, and if you guys have any questions as we're going along, there is a little chat window. You can see there's a chat bubble on your GoToMeeting screen. You can type in your questions as you have them as you go. I'll try to answer questions live as they're going if they're sort of related to the topic that we're on at the moment. Otherwise, I will scroll through at the end, but I'll leave about 10 minutes at the end for Q&A so you guys can have any questions, anything I missed, or anything sort of a little bit less related to exactly what we're talking about. But yeah, questions, you can type them into the chat, and then I'll answer them as we go. Cool. So at first, we're going to start with some statistics. And as I said, I tried to find some that actually have a takeaway that I can give you at the end of them, so it's not just reading a list of random statistics. And the first 2 here are that 5 billion people on Earth can receive text messages, right? So this is what 70% of Earth's population can text. So this isn't some niche thing that only some of your audience is going to have access to. This is something that everyone will be doing. And messaging is the #1 reported use of smartphones. Pretty much everyone in the United States has a smartphone. It's not some niche thing where if you add text message marketing, it'll only be effective for some of your audience, right? This is something that is worldwide that 70% of Earth's population is doing, right? And text messages have a 98% open rate. So basically, any text message that you send will be at least seen, and 90% of them are read within 3 minutes. While this is awesome and gives you huge potential to market your business and to reach people, this also means that text messages have the biggest potential to annoy or leave a bad taste in a potential borrower or prospect's mouth if you overuse it, right? Because text messaging is still sort of seen as a personal messaging space for people's family and friends. You do need to be a bit more selective with what you're sending when you're sending text messages, just because they're all going to be seen. So just making sure that it's important stuff that you're sending out, which we'll get into a little bit more later, right? We have the next one: consumers redeem SMS or text message, that's the same thing, delivered coupons and offers 10 times more likely than other types of offers, right? So that's an interesting stat just because it gives you a way that you can sort of frame your text messages to make them more effective, right? If you can frame a text message as a coupon, a discount, an offer, a special thing that they're getting by being in your text message list, by receiving text messages from you, it actually makes it a lot more powerful of a tool than doing it in any other way, right? Than sending a new loan program or a new offer or a new rate or whatever you have, some new thing that you have available. Text message is the most effective way you can send it to people, rather than by mail or by email or whatever. They're 10 times more likely to redeem that offer or move forward if it's through text message. Okay, 98% of US smartphone users send texts regularly. So this is just important because, I'm sure some people think, I can only use text messages for my millennial marketing campaigns or for younger people, when 98, almost 100% of people in the US using smartphones are texting, right? It's the number one reported use of smartphones. So texting should be a part of all of your marketing campaigns, not just ones based for younger people. Pretty much everyone that has a smartphone is texting, and it's something that they do know how to do. And it's the number one use of why they're using their phone, right? And then on the back of that, texting is also the number one preferred communication channel for millennials, right? So while you should be incorporating text message marketing into all of your campaigns, your millennial campaigns for your younger audiences, for your younger borrowers, your younger prospects, they should be text message first rather than call first. Text message to buffer help, or your younger campaign should be text message first, messaging first, call second. Okay, and then down the last one here, we have 39% of businesses use some form of text communication with their customers. So I think this is really important, just because I think a lot of people feel like, oh, it's too late. People are already getting inundated with text. I don't know where to start. If you guys started today, if you've never done a text marketing campaign before and you started today, you're still within, the first half of movers within the text message marketing space, right? You're still ahead of over 60% of businesses if you started doing text messaging today. So you're not too late. You're actually right where you should be and getting started with doing some text message marketing in your business. Cool. Any questions with any of these statistics or any sort of the takeaways from them? You can go ahead and type them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to keep rolling on through. All right, so we have here just some quick stats that I pulled for text message marketing versus email marketing. Text message marketing has a 60 times faster response time than email marketing. It has 6 times higher engagement rates, 7 times overall campaign performance, and 7.5 times higher response rates. And while all this is great stuff, it gives you a much easier and faster way to communicate with people. I want to very clearly drive home that it's not necessarily means you should replace your email marketing. Decision should be the thing you do instead. It should be something that complements it, right? You need to be hitting people from multiple channels, multiple different angles, sending emails, sending postcards, sending text messages. You need to be hitting them from all angles, right? So, and I also doesn't necessarily mean that just because the general consensus is that these stats are higher through text message marketing. Every market is different. Every demographic is different. Every niche is different. So you may actually find that your email marketing is still more effective, right? So just because it's the general consensus in the industry or the market that something is more effective, it doesn't mean you should replace what you're doing with the new, more effective thing. You should be incorporating all of these things into a single strategy, into a single campaign. And that's why it's so important that you guys have got sort of a mortgage CRM that can help you automate and do all these things at once, right? Because as this marketing becomes more digital and more complex, and what you need to do on your weekly basis, on your monthly basis, and your marketing grows larger, you need a tool, a system that can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you and that can automate stuff. So it's really important that you guys get these processes set up as automated as possible, because there is just too much to do manually by yourself, right? So text message marketing, it is effective. A lot of people find it more effective, but just don't replace it with something that's been working for you, right? If something's been working, hell yeah, keep using it. All right, now we're going to get into some legalities to make sure that when you're doing text message marketing, it is compliant with federal law, with the FCC. And really sort of the golden takeaway here is make sure people know what they're getting, right? Make sure that you're not surprising people with stuff. Make sure you're being upfront about what you're going to be texting with, and that they know what's coming, right? If anyone ever has to text, who's this? Who are you? What do you mean? Like, what is this? You're doing it wrong, right? All of this should be laid out up front. So the first thing that you have to do with your text message is you need to ask for permission. You need consent to be texting people, right? And this doesn't have to be some like awkward, weird thing where you sound like a robot. When you text like Starbucks text messaging system and some robot texts you back, you don't have to frame it in that way, right? You can use this this actual legal thing that you must do by necessity as sort of a conversation starter, right? To open up the conversation. So let's say you reach out to someone who showed interest in your mortgage through a Facebook ad or started a form, your 1003 form, and then dropped off. You could actually send them a quick text message or set up a campaign for someone who starts filling out a 1003 campaign that'll automatically send them a quick text saying like, hey, this is John from John's Mortgages. I saw that you dropped off on your 1003 form. Do you have any questions? Oh, and also, is texting the best way to reach you, right? I usually text my clients for quick things like this. Is this the best way to reach you? You've now just given a compliance thing, asking for permission, getting consent, and you've used it as a way to open up a quick conversation, right? The quicker you can get someone to respond to you, and with such an easy question as, hey, is this the best way to reach you? That opens up sort of the pipeline of, the hardest part is to get someone to respond to you in the first place, right? And once that happens, it's much more likely that they'll respond to you in the future, or that they'll move forward with you, or that they'll click on your offer, or that, they'll learn more about your business because they've put in a little bit of effort. And having such an easy question of, is this the best way to reach you? Is this the best way to contact you? Not only does it check off the box of, getting consent through the legality portion, through the FCC, through the laws, it's also a really effective way to open up the conversation and to start moving someone forward through your pipeline. So working into that, and you can do it in an organic way that doesn't have to be awkward, right? Number two, when consent is given, it must be done in writing, not verbally. So let's say you met someone at a seminar or at a coffee shop, or it's a friend of a friend, and you ask them, hey, can I put you on my text message marketing list? And they say yes. It needs to be in writing. So even if you've gotten verbal permission beforehand, you still need to open up with that consent question. Is this the best way to reach you? Are you okay that receiving text messages from me? Is it cool if I text you for updates? Is it cool? That consent, that written consent needs to happen. And what essentially you're looking for this is a yes answer, is a yes response. You ask a question, is it okay if I blank, if I text you, whatever, and you want that yes in return, and then you're good to go. Then you're golden. You can do essentially pretty much whatever you want. Then they're in the list and you're legally compliant. Okay, you must say who you are in the first text message, right? You need to say, hey, this is John from John's Mortgage. This is Mary from Loans by Mary. Whatever it is, you need to let them know who you are. If you ever get a response back from a text message saying, who is this? You are doing it incorrectly and you are not following the law here. You have to open up with letting them know who you are. This should be pretty straightforward. And again, it's probably what you would be doing anyways, but there is a legal factor here. So again, make sure you're letting them know at some point who you are. I'm sorry, not at some point, in the first text message, who you are. Okay, your automated text messages. So if you have a campaign set up where, again, if someone fills out a form on Facebook, or starts your 1003 form, you start sending a text message campaign to them, asking them why they dropped off, if they have any questions, telling them why you're the best, whatever it is. You need to have opt-out instructions, so how they can stop receiving text messages from you. That just needs to be mentioned within the first text message as well. So when your automated blast goes out at the bottom, if you're using BNTouch for your text messages, all they have to do is reply the word stop, and it'll put them on a no text list where they'll automatically, anything that goes out, they'll stop receiving text. So it sort of blocks their number from the system from sending them text messages, right? So that just has to be mentioned at the bottom somewhere. If you use a different text platform, you're gonna have to figure out what their method is. For BNTouch, it's just reply the word stop, and you'll be taken off the list. Cool. And then this one I actually found out when researching for this webinar was that you're only allowed to send marketing text messages from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., which I'm assuming is because, you shouldn't be waking people up at 3 in the morning with these text messages, or, at 5 a.m. it shouldn't be the first thing that they're getting. But it's a little tricky here, and then I want to sort of drill home, is that when you're setting up a text campaign, you should be putting time parameters on it, right? So if you set up a text message campaign where it sends them a text message as soon as they sign up on your website for something, they may be signing up at 2, 3 in the morning. It doesn't mean that not people aren't up then. So you want to make sure that if someone's signing up at 2 in the morning, you can set up time parameters so it sends out at 8 a.m. the next day, right? So this is, between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m., and this is unless they've given you consent to send them text messages outside of that time, which is, it's a weird thing to ask, hey, can I send you text at 3 in the morning? But just make sure, and you can do this within BNTouch. I'll show you guys how to do this at the end of the webinar. But you have to send within these 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. time constraints. And then all of these apply specifically to when you're the one texting first, right? If someone sends you a text message, or if someone, let's say there's a feature in BNTouch where you can put up a phone number, and if someone text messages it, it'll add them as a lead into your CRM. So you can put on your website, hey, text me if you have questions. And it'll actually, if someone texts it, it'll bring them in as a lead. That's essentially them giving consent if they text you first, if they're asking you for something first. That applies. So this is all for when you're having some automated thing go out, when you're doing automated text messaging, when you're the one sending the first message, right? When they didn't ask you to send the message back or apply to them, that's when all of these things apply. Okay, so you need to ask for permission, which can be done organically. Hey, is this the best way to reach you? Consent must be given in writing. You can't have people tell you at a seminar, hey, go ahead and send me a text, put me on your text list. You still need to ask them over text. You have to say who you are on the first text, and they all need opt-out instructions and to be sent within that time frame. Right? So it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. If you guys are doing these 5 things, and most of these apply to your first text messages that go out, you should be good for all time. I don't think anything more pinching than this will go out. Any questions with legalities? Keith says, do the opt-out instructions automatically appear if using BNTouch, or do we have to manually put that in there? When you do your first text, you will have to manually put it in. We're setting it up. We're building this right now in the background, where we'll have an AI that'll ask them a couple of questions first. So it'll say, it'll get the manual permission. It'll ask them their name. So that'll put into the system their phone number. It'll get sort of like their basic details, and this will all sort of happen before the text message comes to you. So that's in the works, but right now you will just have to put at the bottom, text stop to stop receiving text from me. Cool. Any more questions? We will be moseying right along. So now we're going to get into some of the best practices for text message marketing. Some sort of frameworks that you can apply to make sure you're getting the most out of what you're doing, and that you're not actually annoying people and leaving a bad taste in their mouth, which is a big thing from this as well. So the first thing that you should be doing, if you have a sort of a text message marketing thing going on, you want to be promoting your text marketing list everywhere that you can, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a text message marketing list, but you want to have some sort of communication list that is not using a third-party platform. So let's say, for example, you get a lot of your business from posting things on Instagram or Facebook, and you're trying to build your audience that way, that's a great thing to be doing. And it's great that you're building an audience and that people are engaging with your stuff. But let's say every time you want to communicate with that audience, you have to go through their algorithm, and they control what percentage of your audience is seeing your message, your update, your thing that you want them to see, right? When you pull it into something that you control, like a text message marketing list, an email list, whatever, you have complete control over how many people are getting that message, which is all of them, right? Anyone, unless they've opted out, is receiving every single message that you send. So you want to be using these platforms, Facebook, email, advertising, whatever it is, everything else you're using on a third-party platform, you want to have the goal to be to draw them into some system that you control that you can then communicate them with. And if you have BNTouch, again, you can put a number on like your banner on your Facebook page for your business saying like, hey, text me if you have any questions, and you can put a phone number, and then when they text you, it'll add them as a lead into BNTouch, and then you can set up a campaign that'll automatically start marketing to them through text message, where you can send them blasts of new updates. You can personally start texting back and forth with them. It gives you a really nice communication channel, and it's a way that you can then bring them into some sort of communication platform that you have full control over, rather than, if any of these, like let's say a social platform goes out of business one day, you've just lost that entire audience. So you want to use these things because your audience is on them, right? To sort of bring them into a system that you have control over. Number two that's really important is you don't want to oversend text messages. As the statistics showed earlier, 90% of people read them within 3 minutes. 98% of people will read every text message that they get, right? So this is not seen as a marketing platform yet, fully by the consumer. So you don't want to be inundating them with multiple messages a week, multiple messages a day. It's a really easy way to, last thing you want to do is annoy someone. And the last thing you want is to leave a bad taste in their mouth when they think of you and when they think of your business. So you want to make sure that what you're sending them is important things that bring them value. I think the best, sort of the golden rule for this is don't think of text messages as a way to market your business necessarily. Think of it as a way to communicate with your potential borrowers, with your prospects, right? Everything that you send to them should not be rhetorical, right? You shouldn't be sending like, hey, here's a new thing I wanted you to know about. Say, hey, here's a new thing. Does this interest you? You should always be eliciting some sort of response. And if you're always doing that, I think you're much less likely to annoy someone, because they then have the ability to say, no, they're not interested, and to stop, doing that thing with them or talking about that thing or moving forward with that thing. If you're sending rhetorical updates essentially to them where they don't have a chance to respond to it, it's a lot more likely that you'll annoy them. So if you just think of this more of as a communication platform than a marketing platform, I think you'll sort of automatically have the framework of sending things that are of more value to them, where they have a response. It's about getting their response rather than essentially getting them to just sort of click through to the next thing in your pipeline. So try to think about it that way, and that'll help you not oversend and annoy people. The third thing is that timing is everything. And this sort of applies in two ways of the meaning for timing, right? Number one is that because people read these so quickly, this is the best way you can sort of get your information to someone in a quick manner, right? So when someone signs up on your website, every minute that they don't hear from you after they've, showed interest in a mortgage on a Facebook ad, whether it's, abandoned their 1003 form, they filled out the first page, they filled out some offer you have on your site, whatever it is, every minute that goes by that they don't hear from you, they're less likely to work with you, right? So you want to be hitting people. That's probably the most important part, where you can hit someone with some sort of communication, is right when they initially sign up, when they initially opt into whatever the thing is that you're trying to give them. You want to hit them right away as fast as possible with a text message, with an email, with a message, whatever communication platform that they hit you up on, the Facebook message, whatever it is. It's incredibly important. It's probably the most important time is you hit them with as many channels as possible as soon as they sign up for whatever the thing is. And you can be a little bit more aggressive than a lot of people feel comfortable with here, as far as the amount of sort of touch points, the amount of times you hit them with the communication right when they sign up. Let's say, if you send them 1, 2, 3 text messages throughout the day, after the first day they sign up, that's probably not a bad thing, because if they don't ever respond to you, they're not going to work with you anyway. So you want to hit them and get that first response, and then get the communication channels opened up, right? Because really, selling for you guys is building a relationship, right? That really is the best sales method, is sort of building that trust right off the bat, opening up the communication channels. So you're wanting to get a response from someone as quick as possible, and text message is one of the best ways to hit someone quickly, make sure they see your message, and open up a communication channel by getting a quick response. And timing is also everything in another facet, where when you send the text message is also really important, right? Because 90% of text messages are read within 3 minutes, you shouldn't be sending things that you want them to sort of look at over the weekend or just to know about, right? So let's say you send a text message out to your list or whatever, you have a new loan program you want people to know about. You send it out at 8:30 when people are on their morning commute to work, right? While every single person may be reading the text message, right, as you're driving, as much as you're not supposed to, you'll look and see what the text message says. And then they'll say, oh, okay, I should respond to that. But because you've hit them in a place where they're on their commute, they're on a drive, they can't actually respond right then and there, right? This is a really short-term communication platform. They'll probably just forget about it, and then you sort of wasted that text message, right? You're not going to get that response. So you want to make sure that you're not texting people during any sort of morning or evening commute time. You want to hit people, because it's such a quick communication platform. It's for short-term communication. You want to make sure you can hit them at a time that they can respond to you right then and right there. So if it's a holiday, if it's a whatever, right? You want to make sure that it's happening within a time of day. Even when right when someone's getting back from lunch, that might even be a bad time, because they're getting back at their desk, getting things moving, right? Unless they're in a sort of a space where they can communicate within 3 minutes, that's really important as far as timing as well. So think about that stuff. When are you sending the text message within the day? Is it likely going to be some time that they're available to respond and actually interact with their phone, rather than just reading the message saying, oh, I should deal with this, putting their phone down because they're multitasking and forgetting about it. Cool. And then we have use text in, not opposed to your email campaigns. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but when someone signs up for something, when someone enters your system as a lead, you want to be sending them a communication on as many channels as possible, not just one, right? Even if text message is the most effective for you that you find, right? And test all these things out. See what is the most effective for you. As I said, every market is different. Every demographic is different. Every location is different of where we're doing business, who we're doing business with. So you may not find it, but even if it is the most effective for you, you still want to be having those other platforms, those other communication channels, hitting them on as many channels as possible, just because they may miss one and look at another one, right? If the 10% chance that they miss the text, or you hit them when they're in rush hour, or when they're going to somewhere with their family and driving, and then later during the weekend they'll look at their email and they'll see the same communication, but they'll see it somewhere else and go, oh yeah, I forgot to respond to that, right? You want to be hitting people in as many different channels as possible, just because it's sort of the world that we live in, where we'll forget about something and then see it somewhere else later and remember, right? Multiple touches is super important. And then the fifth thing I want to drive home is that text message marketing isn't necessarily just a lead driving tool, right? You can, set this up on your website where, let's see, one of the statistics earlier was that a certain amount of people prefer to use texting or messaging as a way to talk to support, right? So you could set up a phone number on your website for people who have questions. Rather than calling you, they can shoot you a text, right? If someone's filling out your 1003 form and you put a little footer note at the bottom on your website or something saying, hey, I have a question about anything on this form, text this number, right? And we'll answer your question quickly. You can use it as sort of a support tool to help people answer their questions on your website as they're doing stuff, 1003 form, whatever it is. A lot of people are more comfortable just shooting off a quick question rather than having to get on the phone with you where they could potentially be, sold for something bigger, or it turns into this 10-minute conversation when they just had a quick question that they wanted to get off. So setting it up that way. And you can also set up text message marketing as a way to communicate quickly with your current borrowers, right? Let's say you can use text messages to give status updates on a loan, right? It's probably, because they're read within 3 minutes, it's probably the fastest way you could update someone when their loan has gone into underwriting, when they're pre-approved, when their loan has been approved, right? This text message might be the quickest way you can hit them with that update, so they know as fast as possible, so they know that you're doing whatever you can to get them the message as fast as possible. And it also, let's say they are multitasking and doing something else, they may just pick up their phone, see the text message and know the message that you wanted to send them, rather than seeing that you're calling and go, oh, I'm cooking dinner right now, I'll call them back, right? They could see like, oh, our loan was just approved, that's amazing, and then call you back when they're available, right? So that might be the most effective communication tool for getting a quick update across to your current borrowers as well, right? So it's not just a lead tool. It's not just for driving leads, communicating with your leads. It can also be a support tool on your website, right, to help people answer quick questions. And also, if someone, texts you on your website, they can then become a lead, right? They enter your text marketing list in BNTouch in your CRM. So you have that. You can use it as a support tool, and you can also use it as an update tool for your current borrowers and prospects, right? Your past borrowers even. Cool. Any questions with some of the best practices? Go ahead and type them in the chat. Otherwise, we're gonna keep boogieing on. All right. We next have text message content tips. And a lot of these content tips, so these are going to be like, actual tips when crafting your message, when deciding what to actually write in your text. A lot of these will apply to any form of communication that you're doing. Again, we live in this digital world where people are constantly inundated with things. So a lot of these will apply, being short and concise and upfront and transparent are really things that will apply to any sort of messaging you're doing, but especially with text messages, because everything is read, right? So you don't want to send people some giant, 18 paragraph thing about your about me of, your why of why you're doing your business, right? So the number one thing you want to do for your content, and this applies to anything that you're doing, any sort of messaging that you're doing, is you want to send it to yourself first, right? Whether this is an email, a text message, whatever it is, always send something to yourself first. So if you're using BNTouch, create a record for yourself. Put all your content, put your email, put your phone number, right? And add yourself to a lot of your campaigns, right? Add yourself to your automated campaigns to make sure everything's going out. Nothing got messed up. Nothing got turned off automatically or accidentally, sorry. Add yourself to some of your main, most important campaigns. So you're getting that stuff too. You're seeing it all in action. And, when you're sending a text message or you're creating some sort of, template or draft or whatever it is, send it to yourself first, right? Things in our CRM, but in any sort of marketing tool that you're using, it may end up looking a little different by the time it goes through the multiple platforms and gets to your client's email, whatever phone they're using, whatever size their phone is. Send it to yourself first. You may have, when you send an email, click every single link, make sure everything works. Just fully test things out, because it might not always look the same as it does when you're making it on your computer or your phone or your screen. By the time it gets to someone else's, it may look a little different. Things look different on every email platform. Things look different on every operating system for a phone. So send it to yourself. Make sure that the links work. No images are broken. Maybe one line spaced down a couple lines farther than you wanted it to. Even simple things like a text message where by being in that little text bubble on a phone, it may change the tone or the something. It may make the message not come off how you wanted it to, just by how it's formatted. So always send it to yourself first. Cool. Yes, guys who are asking, this is being recorded, and it'll go right up into the Facebook group for the BNTouch family Facebook group right after, and then we'll put it up on our YouTube channel as well. So you guys will be able to access all of this at your leisure on demand whenever you want. It is being recorded. Cool. The second thing, as far as content tips, is you want to state your offer right up front. Do not start with, here's your about me from your website that you put in. Do not start with, here's the history of your business. Here's why you're doing the thing. Just tell them what the offer is. Tell them what you want them to know right up front. And this sort of falls into the second one of being short and concise. People don't want to have to wade through something to get to know, what you're looking for, what you want, or what the offer is. Just state that right up front. Hey, it's John from John's Loans. Just got this new loan program that I think fits with, your information and what I read about you. Is this something you'd be interested in? Right? They don't need to know, a bunch of details of how you're always looking for the best rates and you're doing these things, and that's why you found this loan pro. Just get right to it. And you want to, I guess, a framework that I use to think about this is you want to frame everything as sort of a yes or no, right? So you want to always be getting the next round of yes from them. So say like, hey, here's this new thing. Are you interested? Yes. Hey, here's this new thing. Are you interested? Yes. Hey, I just wanted to check in and give you an update on this. Is that cool? Yes. Like you want to keep getting them to say yes to you, and that'll make it, the more they get used to saying yes to you, the more likely when the big decision comes of taking their loan with you, they're more likely to say yes to that because they've had all these small yeses beforehand, right? It sort of implants in their mind to keep saying yes as you move them through your pipeline. So state your offer right up front, and then that goes right into being short and concise. You want to, what all marketing communication is using the least amount of words possible to say the largest thing, right? It's very different from website writing or article writing on your website, or, when you're putting your about me, you want to get right to the point. And a way that I do this when in my writing, when I'm doing stuff for BNTouch, is I will just start by writing the message I want to say, not editing it at all, just getting it all out there. And then afterwards, I'll look at it and I'll ask myself, what's the point I'm trying to get across? And however I answer that in my head, right, I'll usually say it in a sentence, like, oh, I'm just trying to say this. That's the message you send, right? You write the whole thing out, and you're always asking yourself, okay, what's the point I'm trying to get across in this prose, in this paragraph? And however you answer that in your head will always be a shorter answer, and that's the message you're wanting to send, right? That's what you write. You do by answering the question, what point am I trying to get across? That's sort of a cheat code that I found that helps me to be more concise in my writing. You'll be summarizing the thing that you already wrote, and the summary is really the message you want to be sending. That's the short, concise version that gets right to the point and states the offer up front. So always, when you write something, always ask, what's the point I'm trying to get across with this? And if you can answer that in your head in a shorter way than you wrote it, that's the way you should write it, is the way you just answered it in your head. Cool. And then number 4, this is also very important for any sort of marketing communication that you're doing, but especially in text message, is you always need to include a call to action. Anything that you send to someone that you're trying to do business with needs to have a explicitly stated next step is, right? You always, always, always need to tell a prospect, a new lead, someone you're trying to do business with, what you want them to do next. Okay, whether this is, even as simple as when you're sending that first text message and you say like, hey, is this the best way to reach you? You're telling them that letting you know that this is the best way to reach you is what you want them to do next, right? When they start filling out your 1003 form, and they give up halfway through, and you reach out and you say, hey, is there any questions I can answer for you to help you move forward, right? Here's the link to get back on the 1003, whatever it is. You're telling them exactly what you want them to do, which is go back on the 1003 and finish the form after they've read this communication, after they've had this communication from you. So having a call to action in your text messages is just as important as anything else. The one thing you do need to keep in mind with text messages is you have a bit less power to customize and sort of add things like you do in an email, where you can use, graphics and buttons and links and things to click on. There's a bit less of that fun stuff that you have in text messages currently. So you'll have to put, a raw link, or that's why it's better to look at it more of a communication channel, where you can send a link to something on your website if they need to it, but it's more just to move communication forward, build that relationship, get a quick back and forth going, and it's sort of the icebreaker to opening the relationship they're going to have with you as a trusted advisor as they go through their home buying process, through the mortgage process. Cool. And then number 5 is you want to be transparent. They should never be surprised by what you're sending them, right? So be upfront with, hey, this is what I'm going to use text. This is what I'm going to be texting you. This is what I'm using this text platform for in our relationship, in our business transaction. I'm going to be using it to send you updates on your loan. I'm going to be texting you to send you new loan programs that you might find interesting, or I'll be using it to send you, first-time home buying tips that might help you. Right? Be upfront about what you're going to be using this communication platform for, so that they're never caught off guard by something, or they're never getting something that they didn't think they signed up for. So you have to be super transparent about that stuff. Again, if at any point you get a text message back saying, who is this? Why'd you send me this? Right? Any sort of question back of like, why, what, where is this happening? How is this happening? You're doing it wrong. Right? And you not only may be illegal, like not following the law, but you may be leaving a bad taste in people's mouths, and they may be having a negative interaction to your brand. Right? So if you're sending these text messages, you're getting responses, everything's going good, that's fantastic. But being transparent is super important in your messaging and in your content. Chief wants to know if meta tags can be added to text, like an email. Yes, you can add meta tags to your text. So if you wanted to create, let's say, we'll get into this in the next step. Anyone have questions on the content tips? Chief, I will show you how to add meta tags in the next step. We're going to get into BNTouch, and we'll go through all of these sort of nitty-gritty, get into the details of how you can actually use BNTouch to start sending text messages and different things you can do. Right on, guys. Let's go ahead and get to the next step here. So we're going to get into BNTouch here. I'll get into one of our demo accounts, and we'll go through how to actually do some of these things within your CRM. But we're going to talk about how you can create an automated text campaign. So we'll actually get into a campaign. I'll show you how you can create a text message step, and you can sort of build out a campaign that sends a postcard, sends an email, sends a text message. You can have all of them existing within one campaign, all of these things happening automatically. We'll then get into how you can send personal text, that's what that's supposed to say, within a few seconds, so that you can jump into a record, one of your contacts real quick. You can just shoot them off a quick text message. You can even create a template. So let's say you're finding that you're needing to get a certain document from all of your new prospects, or your people who are in initial stages of their loan process. You're needing a document. You're finding you're needing this document from almost all of them. You can create a little template that you can then, just click on in a second and send off a quick question by text message, letting them know like, hey, I need this document from you. Rather than having to manually type it out every single time, you can make a template that you can use in the future. You can also send bulk text blasts. So let's say you have a new loan program that you want people to know about, or there's an offer that leads who came in before this date or after this date. There's some new, program that would apply to them. People who, and basically anything you search within the search feature of BNTouch, people of a certain income level, people who live in a certain area, you have something you want to just send to them and make sure that they get it quickly. You can actually send out a text blast to some, checkbox a bunch of lists and send them out. And then you can also, as I've stated earlier, you can collect new leads via text message using BNTouch as well. So you can have your text number on your website, on your banner image, on your Facebook, whatever, and you can let them know. They can text you if they have questions, text me for more information, whatever it is. And when they text, they'll actually be automatically added into BNTouch as a lead. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Cool, so we'll start with creating automated text campaigns. And this is going to be done just as you would create any other step, and like an email step or whatever it is. First, I'll go ahead and show you guys if you do want to activate text messaging for your system, you can do it in here from the modules section. So up in the top right corner, click on modules here. And this is sort of all the added on features that you can add to your BNTouch, your CRM. And it's under BNTouch Voice. So BNTouch Voice gives you the ability to create text message marketing campaigns, do text message marketing, do texting from your system. And it also gives you the ability to click to call your records and then create pre-recorded voice messages that you can actually send to them as well. So you get a bunch of different features here. And you can just click the activate button here or learn more about it from the modules section. So to add it to one of your campaigns, to create an automated campaign, we're going to go into our marketing tab. We're going to go to our campaigns, whatever, we have our campaign. Let's say it's set up for someone who started filling out a 1003 form. We have a bunch of different email blasts that we already have going out to them, and we want to add a text message to this blast. We're going to add a new step. And you'll see there's an option here for text message. So if their phone number is added on their record, this will automatically send a text message to them. So we'll give it a step name. So this will be, post 1003 abandoned. So this will be someone who's abandoned the 1003 form. The subject is not going to be visible to them. It's not like an email where there is a subject line. This will just be essentially the title that you'll see in your sort of campaign step list, so you'll know what this text message is about. So this is for you. They will not see this part of it. Then you can go ahead and you'll write your message here. Hey, client name. Right, so this is the meta tag to add the client name. And if you want to add a meta tag, so a meta tag, if you don't know, is essentially a blank variable that you can put into any of your marketing communication that'll automatically fill in that information from that record into the email. So if you want to put in, right here I'm putting, hey, client name, this will automatically put their name into the text message as I'm emailing them. So I don't have to, go in and manually say, hey, John, hey, Mary, hey, Stephen, hey, Sally. I'll actually be able to just put this meta tag, this variable, and you can add meta tags here from this icon. It looks like a bunch of squares stacked on top of each other. And you can search them as well. So you can put their company name, their listing agent, basically any piece of information that the system has on one of your records, you can put in as a meta tag. So it'll automatically populate that information for you. Just noticed that you didn't complete your 1003 form. Is it okay if I give you a call to answer any questions? You can do that, or you can say, any questions I can answer for you would probably be even better. Any questions I can answer for you to help you complete it. Right? And now you've been very upfront with what you're looking for, right? You said, I noticed that you didn't finish this thing that I wanted you to finish. What can I do to help you finish it, right? What can I do to help you complete it? You've been very upfront with sort of what your offer is. You've given them a call to action in the form of a question, right? Do they have any questions that you can answer? So their action next would be to give you a question that you can answer to help them, or to reach out to say yes, whatever it is. You've sort of framed it in this way, very simple, very straightforward. And then down here at the bottom, if you want this to be an auto text message, you're going to want to click right here where it says auto send. This applies to your emails as well. That's a very important checkbox if you want these to go out automatically. And then you can have this send in an interval, which means one day means they will, as soon as they're entered into this campaign, it'll send them that text message right away. This will be the first thing that happens. So when someone starts to fill out your digital 1003, this will be a text message that goes and is sent out right to them. You're going to go ahead and add the step. Boom, it's that simple. You just added a text message to one of your campaigns that goes out, and it'll go out for whatever, however the triggers are set up for this campaign. Again, if you guys have any questions while we're doing this, go ahead and type them in the chat. We're then going to get into next, number 2 here, how to send personal texts in seconds. So let's say we have a new record that just came in, you know, a lunch meeting, a phone call we just had, whatever it is, and we want to send them a follow-up text, a recap text from the meeting that we just had. All right, so we'll go ahead and click into a record. There's 2 ways we can get to send a text really quickly. You'll see there's a send SMS button down here. And again, SMS and text message are the same thing. Or we can click this contact button and there's a send SMS here. Right, so it just pulls up a really quick screen where you can write a message. Hey, client name. And again, if we just talk to them, we're probably just going to be able to quickly go, hey, John, here's a quick recap of our lunch Zoom meeting. And then you can go sort of into, you know, point 1, point 2, point 3, and send that off for them, right? You can use this as a quick communication tool. And then let's say, again, you had a form that you find yourself needing to get from, you know, your brand new borrowers often. You could create a template. So you could save whatever message you're writing. So I'd be client name. Still excited from your pre-approval, or, you know, you're almost pre-approved, just need one more form from you. It's the, you know, whatever it is, blank form. And you found that you are typing this to a lot of your new borrowers. You could save this as a template. So you can add it as a template here. You can add it as you can put tags. So it'll say, this is about forms. And then you can share this with all of your coworkers in your office. Save that as a template. Boom, and then you'll see it here. So when you come to send your next text message, you'll see it. There's these 2 tabs up here, templates. Here's this new one that we just made about getting the form that you're finding yourself having to send over and over again. Right, you click on it, it'll open it up as a text message. So now when we come in here to a new record, right, this guy also needs that form sent. You can just click send SMS, go to the template, click the template, send. Right, this record doesn't have a phone number because it's a demo account, but there would be a send button right here. So literally within seconds, you've now just asked them for that form through text message, which again is going to hit them. 98% chance they'll read it, more likely they'll respond to it. It's a super, and as we mentioned earlier, it's a super effective communication method, even for your borrowers, to update them on things, to get forms, status updates, things like that. Keith wants to know, would I suggest a signature like an email has added to texts that go out? I would say you should have, you could put that in like the first text that goes out when you send, hey, is this the best way to communicate with you? Here's how you opt out. Thanks, Keith. You know, you can put, you know, thanks, comma, Keith, your name, but they are not necessary in the text message. If this is someone you've been communicating with back and forth for a while, they'll more than likely have this number saved in their phone under your name, right? So you will be popping up as Keith already in their text, in whatever text tool that they're using. So it's not necessary to have a signature. You definitely don't need one like email where it has your business name, your phone number, you know, your MLS number, whatever it is. You don't need to have that long thing. At most, I would say, you know, thanks, comma, your name. As far as a signature for text messages, it's not necessary in a text message. It's not like an official communication platform like email. Like it's not as professional, right? You can use abbreviated words. Your punctuation doesn't matter as much. It's a lot more of a conversational platform than it is a professional platform. So you don't need to have all that. Cool. So that's sending personal text. That's creating text templates. We're now going to show you how you can send some bulk text messages. And again, this will all be recorded, guys. You can come back to it. And again, we have a full support staff. If you do implement this and you have questions going on about the technical things of how exactly do I do this, you can always reach out to support. They can answer these questions for you as well. I'm just sort of showing you the different features that you have here. So let's say you have a text message blast that you want to send to your last 10 leads. You're in your leads pipeline. You can just check your last 10 leads, and then you'll now, if you activate BNTouch Voice, you'll have a send SMS button here. You can click, you can send them out a quick, hey, new loan program, right? Whatever it is, hey, new rates, just wanted to, whatever. You now have the ability to send a quick blast text message out. You can also use templates on these as well, and you can also use this in the search feature. So let's say you wanted to send something to records whose loans have closed, whose loans closed last month, and you want to send them a message, right? You can come into your search feature, which is this little magnifying glass. You can go into system here and you can see the funded date. So anyone whose funded date is last month, you can search for those records. Oops, forgot to clear it. Last month. You can search for those records, right? So these are all the loans, the records that have a funded date of last month. So a loan that closed last month, you can select them all with this checkbox, and you can send them a text message, right? So you can search for records by sort of any category you want in your system, and you can check them all and send a quick text message blast to them about whatever it is. So it's a super, super effective communication tool, especially when it comes to updating your current borrowers, your past borrowers on new things, getting referrals, whatever it is. Again, it's just a new communication source that you have within your system. So you're hitting, again, also be sending emails, also be doing all this stuff. It's just another thing you can now use. Melanie wants to know, so can you set triggers that if the 1003 isn't completed within the next days, it automatically texts without having to move in a specific campaign manually? That is also coming as far as not completed within a certain amount of days, but you can set it up where if they've filled out, so how our 1003s work is it has an initial sort of a lead capture form that comes in, and you can say if they've filled out that lead capture form. So essentially, yes, you can. If they've started the application, they'll filled out that lead capture form, and when they're finished, they'll move to a different pipeline. So you can set a trigger that says if they've filled out the 1003 lead capture form and they're still in the prospect pipeline, right? If you haven't moved them forward to a different pipeline because they finished it, it can then send out a text message to them. For support can help you set up a more advanced trigger like that. But yes, you can set it up so if they haven't finished the 1003 but have started it, it can send them an automatic text message blast. Gabriel wants to know if the possibility exists that we would be able to use our phone number to send text message instead of the system generating a phone number. I understand it comes back to our number, but it does not go out with our phone number. Yes, the one unfortunate part is you will have to use a different phone number than your own to use the text message feature and BNTouch. It's just the way it's going to be like that with pretty much any text message marketing tool that you have, where you have to have a specific text message number. What you can set up is you can use like a Google Voice number. It's essentially a forwarding number. So you can use that number. You do get to create your own number. It just has to be different than yours. You can use what's called a forwarding number. So any texts that come to that will also be forwarded to your personal cell phone as well. So you can receive the messages. And you can also download a Google Voice app. So you can essentially gives you like a new text message icon on your phone that you can use as well. So you can use your BNTouch text number as well. But cool stuff. And then the final thing we have here is you can collect new leads via text message. So when you have we'll go in here. When you go into the options, you'll have a new option for BNTouch voice settings. In here, you'll be able to set what your SMS phone number is, what your text message phone number is. You can use this phone number in all of your marketing. So again, like I said, you can put this on your Facebook banner. You can use this at the end of all your Facebook posts. You can put this at the bottom of your emails with just a thing that says like, text me for more info, text me if you have questions, got questions, text me. You can use this as a marketing tool. And then anyone who texts that number, whose number isn't already in your system, isn't already in your CRM and BNTouch, will be created as a new lead. So they'll show up like so. Let's see. Got it. So yeah, you'll see this one right here. Lead number 3 here. It comes in as incoming text lead. It has the phone number, when they were brought in, and then the source will say incoming text lead. So you'll then be able to create a campaign, right? That's for, you can call it your text message marketing list campaign. These are all people who've texted that number that you've been using in your marketing, and you can set up a trigger. So when the source has incoming text lead in it, it'll add them to that campaign. So you can create automated campaigns around the people who are texting in. And again, we are creating an AI ability that will collect more information. When they first text you, it'll say like, hey, what's your name? Hey, what's your email? And it'll get that information to populate it as well. But for now, they'll just come in as a sort of a phone number, and it'll say incoming text lead. Cool. So that's how you can use text marketing in BNTouch. Again, if you want to add text marketing, you're going to go up here into the modules section from your name at the top right and BNTouch. And you have to be an account admin to add a module. So you can go ahead up there and do that. Let's go. If you guys have any questions right now, this was awesome. I hope you guys got some valuable stuff out of this. Please go ahead and put any questions you have in the chat. We'll leave it open for a few minutes. I'll hang out as long as there are questions. But if you're all set, have a great Friday, and we'll get into some questions right now. So can we receive messages through our phone but can't respond? So it'll all come through. Again, we use forwarding numbers, so it'll all come to your phone, and you will be able to respond. It just won't be your phone number. So let's say you have called someone from your phone, and they have your number saved under this number. When you call them, it'll pop up. When they get a text from, your automated BNTouch text messaging system, it'll just come from a different number. So that's why it's really important in the first text message. You need to say, hey, this is John from John's Mortgages. This is our text update number or whatever. Like, just let them know that it will come from a different number, but you will be able to respond to it because it'll forward to your number. So in practice, you'll be able to use it just like any sort of text messaging app. But when it goes to your borrower or lead, it'll just show up as a different number, which is why you need to be upfront with letting them know who you are. The phone number, SMS numbers, which ones to use. Again, when you guys set this up, you'll be able to get with support, and they'll help you. They can help you through this whole process of getting the phone number set up. But you can essentially choose a number, and then our system will, if it's available, then we'll sort of reserve it, and then you can start using it as your text message number. So the key to picking a number is just get something that's in your local area code. Unfortunately, you can't have 2 different numbers yet. So if you're working in multiple area codes, pick the one that you do the most business in, and use that one as your number. But yeah, have a local area code. So you just have a different number in your local area code, and it'll all get set up through our system when you set up the BNTouch voice module. Gabriel, you can ask any question you want, sir. I'm here to answer any questions. But yeah, as far as the technicalities and the nitty gritty of setting up your number, support when you activate the module, they can sit with you one-on-one and go through your specific scenario and help you get all that set up. So no worries, but just know it'll come from, you'll have essentially a BNTouch texting number, and then you'll have your phone number. And anything that comes to the BNTouch text messaging number will forward to you, but when it's sent, it'll come from a different number. Another question, are we able to still use, they're coming in quick. Are we able to still use the same text messaging in the recruiting tab? Yes, you'll be able to use it in your recruiting. So you'll be able to use it in your mortgages tab. You'll be able to use texting in your partnerships tab, and you'll be able to use texting in your recruiting tab. You will be able to use text messages essentially for communicating with anyone in your CRM, anyone in BNTouch. Marcus wants to know if you can upload images. That is a great question. Yes, you can. Let's go ahead and I'll pop that up real quick. So they're called MMS, multimedia messaging system, is what it's called when you send an image. But you'll see here there's an attached image when you send a text message. You can do this as well when you're doing it from the campaign step, and you'll be able to upload an image right there, and it'll appear as it. So you can't make the image clickable like you can in an email, but you can send, let's say if you have a flyer that you wanted to send instead of a message, you could upload the flyer and then send that flyer as a text message, and they'll be able to see images from within their text as well. Melanie wants to know training on creating campaigns, triggers, etc. Melanie, yes, we do. Let's see. Let me pull this up. Oh, if you go into the training and support tab, you will see there is, which one is it? Attend a training here. We have a training calendar that does. We have almost every day during the week. We have different types of trainings about the basic features in BNTouch. These are with our support staff. You'll be able to ask questions. It's all live, so you'll be able to sort of go through and they can custom tailor stuff to you. So you'll see there's one for marketing automation. That'll go through triggers, setting up campaigns, doing all that automated type of stuff. So that's the one you want. The marketing automation is the one you want to sign up for there, Melanie. Do you know when new partner portal will be ready? Borrowers is ready. Yes, we are currently testing the new partner portal. I would say within a matter of weeks, we'll put it in the BNTouch family Facebook group for beta testing to let you guys try it out and get your feedback. So you guys, if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and join the BNTouch Facebook group, and you'll be able to help us sort of craft that and make sure it's perfect for what you want. But we are currently testing it with the developers in our back end right now. Marcus wants to know what's the maximum size we can upload. That is a great question, Marcus. I will get that information and I'll email it to you. Let me write that down. Image size is for MMS. Cool, but it's you can go pretty big. I mean, it'll tell you if it's too big, and you can always shrink it down. But you can go pretty big. I've done like full one-page flyers, and I've uploaded it into that. You know, like a flyer you'd print out on a full sheet of paper, and I put it in, and it's sent as a text message. So I don't think you should have any trouble with as far as sizing. There's no like specific size. You can send any, because when you click on a message, an image in a text message, it just pops up and occupies your whole screen. So I don't think there's any sort of like maximum size limit, but I will find that out for you. Where's the best place to make suggestions? The best place to make a suggestion on an improvement you want to see is just send it to support@bntouch.com, or you can go up here to the top right and you can submit a ticket. They collect essentially every request they get for new features or improvements, and they essentially put them into buckets. And the more requests we get into a certain bucket or a certain request, the more people who request it, it moves up on our priority list. So if you send that in, if someone's already requested it, it'll move it up the priority list. Otherwise, it'll create a bucket so people can start putting an improvement request there as well. But that's great question, Gabriel. Also, when you do join like a beta test for a new feature, we'll give you a direct email that you can send your feedback to. If you're testing something out for us, you'll have an email you can send that right to, which will go right to our developers and our team, and then we'll work those requests in as well. Can we respond to text messages from the new BNTouch beta iOS app? Zach, great question. Yes, the new app that is currently in beta test, but it's coming out pretty soon, probably within the next month or two. We'll have our new app out. It will actually have a section within the app where you can respond to all of your text messages, respond to all of let's say you're using like the live messenger. It's called BNTouch Connect. It lets you have a little chat window on your website where people can type in chats that'll go to your phone. You'll be able to respond to those within the app. You'll be able to use the app to essentially do all that sort of back and forth communication, whether it's through email, through your live chat messenger, through text message. you'll be able to do all of that stuff through the new app, the new BNTouch app. So yeah, that's a great way. You'll be able to do things, respond to all of these people, send quick text messages, send text message blasts. You'll be able to do it from anywhere. What date does it roll out? It's in beta testing right now, Melanie. If you reach out to support and you want to try out the new app, just let them know that you want to try out the new BNTouch app. It's in beta right now, so it's not officially complete. We're still getting feedback from you guys. So if you want to try it out and give us some feedback and help us make it, exactly what you're looking for, you can go ahead and reach out to support and ask for that. They'll put you in the beta program. But we're hoping to roll it out within the next month or two. We don't have an exact date just because we're still getting feedback. We don't know how much feedback we're going to get, how much it's still going to change before it's finished. But if it's in beta, it means it's close. It means it's within a month or two. Then it'll be officially rolled out. Cool, guys. If there are no more questions, I hope you guys have a great Friday. I'll hang out for another minute or two, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.